So I've got a base coat of white swan on there, and I'm going to use the paint inlay, this one page in particular. I'm going to use the text at the top, and then I'm going to use the cherubs at the bottom. And I think that that will look really pretty with the topper that I'm going to use. I've actually decided to add this trim piece on the very bottom. So I'm going to actually be layering this. And because of that, I'm going to want to trim my inlay pretty close to the cherub's feet. So I've already got my piece trimmed, and I love the grid lines because that's going to make it really easy for me to line this up. Now position this in the center and move it out to the sides. I'm going to take a blue shop cloth and make sure I have really good contact. So then I take my brayer, just make sure that it's adhered really well everywhere. And this transfers quickly. And I wet it just to kind of coax the paint off the back of the sheet. Then I like to dry it off with my rag. And you'll see that the paper's nice and vivid. And that's going to help me know when this is dry. So I take my heat gun and you'll see that it's starting to get grayed out as it dries. But I guarantee you this is already transferred, but I still go through the steps just in case. So once it's nice and grayed out, I know it's dry. I'll spritz it. I do try and be careful not to get water underneath the carrier sheet, because that can cause smearing. I want to make sure it's nice and wet. And then I'll just start removing it. That is perfect. So I'm going to try and save as much of it as I can because I think it's really cool. And I do want them to be straight. So I'm going to use the cracks in the paper to help me. Cut into the paper here so I can get it to lay down. and I think we're good over there. I'm going to cut into it just so that it lays flat. And then the same in this section here. Just like you would do with fabric. So we're going to do this part first. And now I'm going to be careful not to get water directly on where those meet. Oh boy. And I'm going to put some letters, I hope, here. So what should happen is it should only transfer to where I have paint. It should only transfer where I have paint. This I painted black from the Christmas Tapers mold. It's actually a resin mold, and I used PENTART bonding primer, let that dry for 24 hours, and now I've painted it black. But right now, I know what I want to do is get some of that black paint around the edge. This is Venetian bronze, and it is a glaze, and it is a black base with like a bronze fleck in it, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to use it on the base first, and then I will do the same thing to the snowflake. I have my crackle stamp, and I'm going to get some black paint on my brayer. So I have some real soft crackles on there, and I'm going to soften up those edges here and there. This is Stardust paint by Paint Couture. And it's a real shimmery champagne color. I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to use some black chiffon glaze. That's also by Paint COUTURE. Mine's really, really loved. And that just makes all of that blend together. And once that dries, I will attach it to my tree. I just used Big Top to seal it. And now I'm going to use Heavy Body Gel to attach my topper. Two and a half. It's pretty close. Moved over just a little bit. And then I'm applying just a little pressure to get this to stick. Here are some final thoughts on this project. The only thing I might do differently if I were to do this again is adding the paint. I lost the fact that these were cherubs. So that might be something that I would look at if I were to do this again.